Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Let we continue our discussion session today, session number 1, looking at the following outcomes. Number 1, hopefully at this session, you are able to explain the importance of outcome-based approach. Another way of looking at why outcome-based is important currently. Next, we will look at the terminologies or keywords that are being used, commonly used, associated with OBE, and perhaps because many countries use different terminologies, and perhaps it's quite important for us to understand what it really means. And last but not least, hopefully at the end of this session, you are able to differentiate between the conventional and outcome-based approach. Now, let us continue with the first subsection on why OBE is important to us. Let me bring you to the attention on the changes or the trends, mega trends that's shaping the world nowadays. There's a lot of things changing. Perhaps with the pandemic going on, is also we experiencing a different way of changes. First, let me look at the growing world population. Perhaps some are already aging society, and at the same time accelerating the pace of urbanization and the rise of mega cities. Issues of sustainability is always growing. The economic growth will continue shifting to the east and west. And technology, innovative solution and breakthrough technology are the key future energy resources managing societies and economies. Hence, this technology will far-reaching impact, will give impacts to the society, economies, geopolitics, including education. Whether we like it or not, this technology somehow university are most being disrupted because of a lot of changes, mega trends shaping the world. So what do? We have no choice but to embrace the changes, to look at it and act accordingly. And we realize the fourth revolution, fourth industrial revolution is here at our footstep, and these new technologies, these new revolutions demands us to look back at our education processes, fundamentals, concepts, right? And the way forward processes. And that's the reason why now the way we look at education is towards connecting, creating, and also on a constructivist approach, moving from teacher-centered education 1.0 towards the learners as connectors, creators, and constructivists at the education of 4.0. It's a huge difference between from teacher-centered and now towards student-centered. This is the move throughout the world at the moment. And we are well aware that the education 4.0 demands that we are able to learn anywhere, anytime. It is a personalized education, flexible delivery. It is based on peers and mentors, student-centered, it's practical application, and so on. The next issue is on the rising skills in Asian Pacific at the moment, from this LinkedIn talent solution document, we noticed that when they did a survey with the CEO, 80% of them are worried about the availability of skills at the moment. Perhaps in 4 years, from 2018 to 2022, about 42% of the core skills required to perform a job will change. So the skills that got you to where you are now, perhaps today, are not the skills that you will need for the future. And this is very challenging. If you look at the skills that are dominating the economy at the moment, is mostly based on the social marketing, social media marketing, compliance, and human-centered design that stands out, right? All this blockchain, AI, robotics, human-centered design, front-end web development are in the need, in the rise at the moment. Hence, the occupations for this particular era will also need to also change. And you can see that now, for example, for artificial intelligence, we require a business analyst, data scientist, and also software engineering. And for RPA, for example, here, so examples of occupation which have these skills are business analyst, robotics, and so forth. We can see that there is a different skills that are required to address the rising need at the moment. For example, AI. And we can already felt the changes at the moment. You can see that the mobile internet and cloud technology is moving quickly, rapidly, and the advance in computing power and big data, crowdsourcing, sharing, rapid urbanization, changing work environments, right, and flexible working, and also climate change. You can see the impact now of those changes already coming to us. Apart from that, the soft skills, I could remember in 10 years, 15 years ago, when we make a survey, what would be the important soft skills required by the industries. Top in the list, for example, in Malaysia, is perhaps communication skills, right? But now, because of the demand, the new changes in the trend and economic background, then we can see now that critical thinking, problem solving are coming into the picture. So we can see that now, if we don't do much, we are still business as usual. Our education processes are still business as usual. We will be producing the student as usual. And the student skills perhaps would be, there is a gap. There's a mismatch between the student skills that we produced, the student that we produce, and the needs from the industry. So this mismatch need to be addressed urgently. And that's the reason why in Malaysia, for example, that the Ministry of Higher Education is redesigning the higher education. So a lot of efforts are being put throughout the higher education in Malaysia to address those issues or those problems mentioned before. And the basis of these changes, addressing the redesigning processes, are based on the outcome-based approach. That is the fundamental of the changes. Meaning to say that we are very particular about the outcomes, the students' outcomes, what are the things that are required by the industries and the society, and that is something is what outcome-based approach is all about. So the Malaysian Qualification Agency is particular on on looking at the learning outcomes and how it is being designed, delivered, assessed, and also all the supporting system towards producing the student's outcome or the student outcome. Not only Malaysian per se, but the professional bodies in Malaysia. Given one example here is the Board of Agents of Malaysia. Also, the center, the accreditation is based on outcome-based approach. And we are also part of the Washington Accord fully signatory, full signatory. So not only in Malaysia, but also all the professional bodies all around the world, as stated here, are part of the Washington Accord or agreement where we mutually recognized the degree program from the respected countries if we apply outcome-based approach in the program. And perhaps in Indonesia, as what I understood, that you are also would like to be part of professional bodies. I was understood that you try to get accreditation from ASIN, the German Engineering Professional Certification Body. And the criteria that I've really looked at in the ASIN quality framework document from the website that I've gone through, they are actually outcome-based approach, right? They're looking at the learning outcomes and also looking through the process are all outcome-based approach. And that's the reason why I think UNNS would like to go through on OBE, because the fact that you are trying to join the accord of ASIN. So in summary, why OBE? As mentioned just now, the rapid changes and the challenges or mega trends shaping the world demands education to be reviewed. Rising new skill sets impact from the fourth industrial revolution need to be addressed via Education 4.0 scenario, because there is a mismatch between the current students' skills, I mean the student outcomes, and the industry needs. In Malaysia's perspective, the Malaysian Qualification Agency and the professional bodies require higher education to embrace OBE, not only in Malaysia, but perhaps many countries adopting the similar approach, either standalone like IBET, Board of Engineers Malaysia, ISIN, etc., or through accord or agreements like Washington Accord, Dublin Accord, meaning to say that OBE, the outcome-based education approach, is the way forward to address the current needs in education. Thank you very much.